Zlurpcast!
Huron gave me the finger. It was the 3-2-1 Wayne's World style. I kept doing the mouthing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, and now for something completely different, we're going to talk about a game. It's been a while. As Aaron Lewis, who I don't like him anymore, would say, it's been a while. We've got Extreme into Golf Rocker's shirt, Cubs cap. He's excited. Did you see what happened last night, Extreme?
I did. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't have many games like access, but I saw the
Did they give up on the season yet?
No, the players are going to be done in about a week though.
Friday.
The team, Friday. The team
Trade deadline.
It would be no more. It would be like Mike in a perpetual Blood Bowl league, and eventually we all voted and said, "I'm sorry, all the dwarves have guard, all have guard and block. You can't play anymore unless you disband." Perpetual league, right, Mike?
Yeah.
How? Mike Valdrick is in the flannel and the Zlurpcast shirt, available at zlurpcast.net. Get that. Death Path All-Stars on it. It's the only game I currently have in my house right now is Death Path.
Are you going to leave it in the center of one room?
I was either going to give it to the new owner, but actually, the reason why I pulled that one out, it was in my garage. That was the one I used to keep at work, my last job. Long story short, I'm having some difficulty getting rid of my last car. My other brother, Dan, the non-gamer, is probably going to fly here and buy it and drive it back home. We got to talking about random things, and he was like, I don't think I knew about your game. Because he was talking about how his son was playing modern games, games you wouldn't like. He was talking, he was talking about he played a game called Hunt a Killer. I think it's like a party game, trying to uncover.
Sounds awful. Party game. Ew.
And I said, you got to give him Death Path, and it was what's that? So I got him 6.
It's going to be in the Kia Soul trunk, whether he wants it or not.
It's going to be in there no matter what. It's in place where the spare should have been because it didn't come with a spare. It's going to be in that spot.
Hunt the Killer is also in my sale pile. It's actually a subscription box thing where you're going through and solving a mystery. It's pretty cool.
Do you get a new one every time?
Yeah, it's. I think there are like 6 or 9 episodes, and then you're done with that mystery. So
is that what I see on Facebook ads with like wine moms playing with?
They do a shit ton of Facebook ads.
Yeah, it's probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I'm not against it. I mean, as long as Extreme's the host, I'm down for a party game. Because, as we've said before, I would reference an episode, I don't know when we talked about it. When Extreme goes into host mode, like Secret Hitler, he's a different man altogether. He transforms. He puts everything you know and love, frankly, about Extreme off to the side.
Becomes character.
You get a new motherfucker. Yeah. So, Biron, have you seen that identity of Extreme?
I didn't know. Well, I went to XCon, XtremeCon, XCon, and he didn't do that.
No, XCon's kind of like I would say XCon is like, well, the XCon version of Extreme is like a great value version of Party Extreme.
He's amongst friends, so he doesn't have to put on airs. Is that
right? Because he's still hosting, but it's not like Party Boy Extreme. I would like to do maybe like a side series of Zlurpcast called like Extreme Identity, where we go into like each one. It's like a catfish thing.
Are there more Extreme Identities than there are Roadblock action figures?
That's about even right now, I believe. 6-inch or all time?
6-inch.
Yeah, it's about even. There's more gamer archetypes than there are Extremes. But Extreme Archetypes could be a future episode too.
At least a 2-parter.
At least a 2-part, yeah. And then we have I don't know where that was. We have Biron in the BMW shirt. Just that's all. He gets no intro. He's not the king of Sting. He's not the master of disaster. He's none of that. He's just Biron.
I'm the one with the Zoom account. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, you are. And Biran, so far away. I'm Johnny P, and today we're talking about Stargrave. For a second, I had like a Jackass flashback. Like, I'm Johnny Knoxville. This is Jackass. There's a new one coming out, by the way. Star Gravitas, if you will. Targrav. Stargrave. Joseph McCullough's latest. You know him from Frostgrave 1, Frostgrave 2, Rangers of Shadow Deep, and this is the one in space. Is it a reskin of Frostgrave? Yeah. Does anyone care? No, that's great. Right? I mean, if you love AC/DC and I try to insult you by saying all their songs sound the same, every album sounds the same, and your reply would be, and? You know, that's what you get. Stargrave is, if you like Frostgrave, it is a very, very similar. Probably, I haven't actually played Rangers yet, but it's probably actually more similar to that because of the Frostgrave's the heavy wizard focus, and there is a psychic power focus, but that doesn't define your character. So it's probably more similar to Rangers of Shadow Deep. But essentially, at this point, would you guys say people, I don't want to say the word genre, but whatever this category, it's pretty much like the Frostgrave guy, right? That's kind of what people, when they reference these games, it's like the Frostgrave guy. He does all these other ones, but it's a similar game. That is the book. Just came out maybe 3 months ago, pretty new. It is laid out in the same way as Frostgrave, where it talks about how to build your warband, gang, crew, posse. I forgot it's not posse. No. Crew? I'm guessing crew. That sounds like
assembling a crew.
Yeah. So you got your captain, and then you got your first mate. I'm not really sold on having first mate as the term, but that's the number two. Number two, if you will. Extreme?
It all feels very Firefly to me.
But they didn't call anyone first mate in that show, did they?
I don't know, but it just feels that way to me. Like crew, I don't know. It just.
I mean, I feel that way too, but I mean, isn't that what they're going for though? Sure. I mean, you say it with some disdain in your voice. It all seems very Firefly.
It's not disdain. It's just that it's the way it feels to me. I mean, when I think of this game, I don't know where this fits into our chat here, but I always wanted to do Guardians of the Galaxy and Stargrave. I thought that would work really well.
Well, you want superheroes?
No, just the idea of this group in space on a ship that are all
a band of misfits, if you will.
Well, I mean, but this is that I would say that works for this too. I mean,
I know. That's what I'm saying. That if I played Stargrave, that's what I would do. Something similar to that line. A group of people. Is this
Biran as a Trekkie or Trekker, if you will? Is this would you throw Star Trek into this too?
I don't know. That seems almost too formal. I like more of the rogue trader aspect, if you will.
Yeah. A pirate, essentially. This is our ship. That's
been a dirtier feel to it, kind of like Mandalorian, Star Warsy kind of.
Yeah.
The tech is there, but
Serenity / Firefly.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I know Biran loves the Whedonverse, but Joss Whedon is my master. People go to Gen Con and wear that shirt. Do they still wear that shirt? Probably not. Extreme?
So when Brian says it, it's a good point, but when I say it, I'm scoffing at it.
Well, he's echoing what you said too.
I'm agreeing with you.
I want to actually take Mike's point though. I didn't even think about that. The dirty Star Wars side, Mandalorian, or when they deal with like gangs and criminal syndicates. Yeah, that's more like this too, I'd say. But I mean, at its core, it's in space, but it's a pirate ship, right? That's kind of they're there collecting loot and doing whatever they want to do. This game is very much if you've seen our Frostgrave episode, everyone do one of these. Because that way when I find the part, when I find the part, it's easier to find 4 white arms, 8 white arms rather, doing this, even extreme kind of olive, so is mine. And when you look at a game like Frostgrave and you watch that episode, we talk about a do-it-yourself, a DIY mentality of sorts. This game has all the same aspects of that, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, we have a little, like, you guys get this show. You're welcome. It's free. Some of yous get Zlurp Nation. That's also free. You're welcome. What yous don't get is the side chat that happens before the show. And we were talking about models we would use, settings, those kind of things of the game. To me, we'll go around the horn on this one. To me, I would like to turn this game into the Necromunda that I want. I would like 40K themed Necromunda-ish models. It could also be, guardsman, trader, whatever, but you know what I mean. Human, scuzzy humans like us, scuzzy. That's the game I would want to do, because now I could do all my cool Necromunda thoughts, corpse dust and the like. You can have that whole theme, the look, and the models, but it's rules that I like, rules that we can find ways to say, I like this guy, but let's fit him into this slot. Ooh, that's a cool model. He's now going to be a slicer. Let's fit him in here, as opposed to playing actual Necromunda, which I don't really like the rules. That's what I would turn this game into. Biron, then Mike, then Extreme. What would be your ideal way to play Stargrave?
For me, was I first? I already forgot.
Okay, let's go to Mike. Well, you got to play the food. So if you want to, it takes you 12 seconds to eat that.
Yep.
Mike, what would be your ideal way to play Stargrave?
Well, I got the a lot of the miniature packs there, so just kind of using those. I'm not, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of the 40K lore, so I would actually want to avoid that.
Yeah, understandable.
But yeah.
So you would go traditional, essentially, 40K, everyone knows, it's just weird because it's like 40,000. Like what? Like we couldn't just do 4,000 and call it a day? You would go with the more, I guess the word traditional, sci-fi as we know it from movies and TV. Okay.
And I also have a whole bunch of like retro sci-fi minis too.
Like those are derp, I believe. Was that what derp?
Yeah, well, no, yeah, but like miniatures in the 50s, what they thought spacemen would look like in the 50s with the fin helmets, and I've got like Bombshell Minis does those, and I've got
like Flash Gordon and stuff like that.
Yeah, Flash Gordon, that kind of stuff. So that I've got a bunch of minis that fit that aesthetic that would also work as well. So
what's funny is those models, dare I say, are much better equipped to handle the elements of space than a traditional 40K model that has no helmet because you want to show the face. Whereas the guys you're talking about, I'm guessing like astronaut looking suits.
Bubble helmets?
Just helmets, clear helmets, right? So if you were to, so you would want to have like, you got your ship, you got your captain, and we're just playing out like you referenced earlier about, Mandalorian or Firefly, those kind of things. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it has a much more generic feel to it.
Okay, let me ask you this, and this might be part of the reason why I gravitated towards trying to fit this into a Games Workshop or Greedy Weasel or Grandma Wendy or Greebly Weebly Hole, because I'm trying to fit it into a 40K universe thing to save myself the trouble of creating a world. Is that fair that you said it's kind of got a generic feel? Does it feel like it needs someone to create a thing for you to play in?
I mean, they give like a few paragraphs of fluff. So
Yeah, it's like super generic.
yeah, but it's super generic. It depends if you want that or not. I mean, some people don't want that. The Thad Warrens out there don't want that. They just want to play, you know. Whereas
Thad Warren is Todd, right?
yeah, yeah, he's like he doesn't give two shits about fluff. It's just this is the game, these are the models I want to play.
Well, because if there was like an established history there, you have to get a hat that matches that history. It's like
he's only got a Wolverine hat and a Grognard's hat.
there's another one, I think.
Oh yeah. But I mean, some people really like especially for fantasy stuff, I really need that fluff. I enjoy that.
Frostgrave gave you more though.
Yeah.
Frostgrave gave you more on the fantasy. They gave you the frozen worlds, and this is ultra generic, not a knock, no disdain, if you will, word of the day. Not a knock on it. I just mean they're letting you do what you want. And in a sense, the models you got, the really cool multi-part, make your own, random, not henchmen, crew members. They want to, fit that mold of what you want to do. So for some reason I went and I would actually be fine with that too. Like if I was in your area and we had a bunch of cool people playing and it was not 40K, I'd still be all over it. I would find, models I want to use and do, and I would fit it. I think my mind just went that way because it was looking for a ready-made world and another excuse to fix Necromunda in my head,
Okay.
So, but I get what you're saying there. Extreme. Oh, sorry, Mike. If you had
I was going to say, because this game and Star Breach is another kind of generic sci-fi skirmish game. Star Breach's army lists are clearly based on 40K.
Yeah.
And Star Wars and other stuff too.
And some Star Wars, some other things, but it's clear. So to me, it still has that, it's always going to have that 40K feel to it.
Sure.
If you're playing the cultists, they're going to be chaos cultists. If you're playing the ancient machine, they're going to be Necrons. Whereas this,
well, to be fair, Mike, would you say, Kings of War has that too, though? If we were all fantasy players, I know they're slowly I don't know if they're all getting Mantic models, but there was a time when we'd play Kings of War.
Oh, yeah.
And like when the second edition came out and everyone came over with their fantasy armies, I mean, if you didn't tell me there's a Kings of War rulebook next to me, it felt like I was playing old Warhammer Fantasy. And I was cool with that because I had, someone's playing a demon army with bloodletters and they're abyssals. Same thing, right?
Oh, yeah. And now in third edition, they've got more fluff. But it took them 10 years to get to that level where, and they've got some unique armies now too. But
sure, you're right, they do. So in this case, Star Breach is, that is like, hey, you got Eldar? We got Eldar. It's very much
exactly.
Space Pharaoh, Wolf Lord.
Right. They just took this, like when you make James Bond movie titles, you just rearrange the same words. They just did that, but like put them in different orders. This is my Wolf Lord, your Lord Wolf, my friend. So yeah, I would agree with that, Mike, on that realm. Anything else you want to cover there?
No.
Extreme. Have you kind of poked around Stargrave rules, looked at it at all?
Yeah, I haven't played, but I've read the rules and looked at the book. And I agree with what you're saying. And it's kind of weird too, coming from the same person, because Frostgrave did feel like a fleshed out world that I was playing in someone else's world, which I do like a lot of times. And this one felt like, you're going to need to create your own world for this. Yeah. There was very little there, which is kind of weird coming from the same place and being a sister game of sorts.
Yeah.
But if I were to play it, I think along the Necromunda line of like a crowded city is what I would look at, but I would lean more towards like 2000 AD, Judge Dredd.
Sure. Are there good models for that yet or no?
They're okay.
There are models for it.
Okay. Good models. Like are they derp?
No, the newer models are better.
Yeah, and available and reasonably priced.
Okay. I'd be, like I said, I'd be down for that, but that's kind of what you get with Stargrave. It's given you a very much an open book, no pun intended, on what you can do in your world, in the game, and then with your group, because this is really intended to be a campaign. Can you play one-off games? Sure, I did. I played once, one-off game. It's very much intended as a campaign, but it's okay. I mean, if I always thought, and I think the new 40K and Age of Sigmar is going this route of like making all games count, so to speak, by like a little journal and things like that. I mean, theoretically, I could build a crew. So could you, Mike. We can play once. We still write down what happens. And then when I play Biron in another year, don't forget my guy got the skill. I mean, campaign is also a loose term too. Sure, you should really get together every week, every 2 weeks, but you could also just play this game and just mark down all the shit that happened and have your guys advance. It's a narrative game regardless, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because the advancements really aren't that significant, and they actually, because in Frostgrave, when you advance, you could really specialize and start just, if you want that attack stat up, you're just going to keep putting it into it. If you want to get it, making your target numbers really low. Whereas this, and when you level up, if you go from level 15 to 16, that tells you exactly what you're going to do. So it kind of spreads the wealth as far as advancements go. And it really doesn't make that much of a difference.
No, it doesn't. It's more fluff. So you connect with your models, and they have names, and you care. Let me take a step back to when we were comparing this. Could this work as a proper Star Wars Legion skirmish game?
Yeah, I think so.
It'd be kind of fun.
I was actually looking at a lot of my Rebel soldiers just because they're already made. And, especially the couple of the kits that aren't human but have the aliens in them, and they would work fine. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that one pack's got the blue guy. Is he a
blue guy?
Heroes? He's not a Bith, because those guys are penises. But I was thinking about, because skirmish in Star Wars Legion is not very good. It's just a small game, not skirmish. And skirmish in Imperial Assault isn't good either. I also thought this would be a good way to, like, I used to always say the reason why I like Imperial Assault so much was it's like Star Wars movies. You don't have a lot of battles in the movies. It doesn't happen, except for cartoon. It doesn't happen. So you're doing missions. That's what this is. So that could also work as well as just an outline set of rules to use for Star Wars setting.
What about using Mars attacks models?
Yeah, it's I assume you already have yours assembled and painted, and you didn't lose all the helmets yet. So, how many of those have you got stuck between your toes? Extreme those helmets. At least 3, at least. Like when you store them, you're like stacking them like saucers. Like you're gonna make it worse because the whole thing's gonna topple over when you're storing those. But yeah, this is a super generic outline sci-fi game, and that's why this game is cool. That's 100% why it's cool. When I played a one-off game a few weeks ago against Dan Day, and he brought Pathfinders and Enforcers, like a mix, and I had Chaos Cultist type guys, a robot, and like the navigator from the Blackstone Fortress was my leader, because he was a psionist. Am I saying that right? Psionist?
Yeah.
Psionist? How do you say that word, Mike?
I don't know.
Psionicist.
Psionist. Psionist?
Yeah.
Or not a Zionist. That sounds
no.
Not a Zionist. We know what those are.
Right. Biron's a Zionist.
Yes.
Because he's from Zion, Illinois. Duh.
Where the nuke plant used to be.
And there's also a wonderful Illinois beach there. But
is that a theme park? Or is it just a beach?
Just
Illinois
beach.
Beach.
I mean,
Thinking Indiana Beach.
the
Yeah,
theme,
Indiana Beach. A
the theme
really
is
old
boring, but it's there.
Indiana
there's
Beach
nothing.
is a very old theme park that hasn't aged very well.
Indiana Beach is a real thing, though.
Yeah.
Whether you want it to be or not extreme, it exists.
It does.
But I played against Dan, had our 2 crews, and I had a very psychic power themed captain. And then my first mate was like my cultist leader. And then my fluff, he was the leader of the cult. And then the navigator has basically like controlled their mind to help, he's going to steal their souls eventually to feed the third eye, no big deal. But he basically took him over. And the first mate, I gave him control robot and fire robot, all the robot skills. So he's like hiding behind a wall, making the robot fire at people, which I just thought that was kind of cool. But that was just the cool thing I wanted to do. Dan's was more like, kind of like cheaper recruits for the most part. We both had a couple like code breakers and a couple, we each had a code breaker, we each had the other version, because one is for like downloading.
Yeah, one's for physical, yeah.
Physical, yeah.
That is a difference of Frostgrave that I really like with this game, is the 2 different kinds of loot that you're getting, physical loot and digital loot. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I didn't realize after I grabbed the digital loot, I had to download it and make another roll and waste another turn.
Yeah.
I had it all planned out by the time I got off the board, and I missed it by a turn, because something that, we should all have learned. You can stream the porn, but sometimes you need to download them. I don't. Sometimes you might have to.
That's all I do.
Download porn?
Oh, yeah.
Not stream?
No.
Okay. Well, there's no streaming in Stargrave. Maybe the next edition or the supplement. You got to download everything.
I'm a collector.
Yeah, it's what you want. You want all the footage. You never know. The one thing, so in playing out one game, and man, I wish, dang it, there was a couple things I noted that I was like, if I was going to run a league, I would, if it comes to me, I'll bring it up. But there was a few minor tweaks gameplay, which I try not to do that, which the couple things came up. Here's one. The amount that you're slowed down when carrying stuff, I would maybe look at that a little bit, because then it becomes like a stalemate where nobody ends up with anything off the board because you're too busy shooting and doing stuff, and then you grab it and you got to download it. So maybe something like that, because it was move your 6 and then 3, because it goes half, the
half movement. So yeah,
there was a couple little like things none of them were like game breakers. I just said I would like to talk to a group about these 2 or 3 things, see if they wanted. But overall, the gameplay was good. It's like Frostgrave, and if you haven't played that, that's fine. We'll kind of cover it. But you're doing different things. You're shooting or you're defending, and you're rolling a d20, and you're adding in your stat to that, trying to beat the opponent. And then if you win that score, you then take that amount and subtract their defense,
armor,
toughness.
armor.
What is it?
Armor.
And that's your damage there. It doesn't matter how much you win by. If I beat Mike's roll 20 to 19, you're still going to be 20 minus your armor. If I beat Mike 12 to 11, it's only 12 minus your armor, so it's not going to hurt you as much. My point is that 19 that you rolled, worthless, because high roll, but didn't win. That's fine. That's we talked about in our Frostgrave episode that sort of D&D elements of in a miniatures game format, and that's gives you some of that. One of the things I want to say after, again, I only played the one game, but I think I actually would probably not let people go crazy with stuff. I think it's very easy. I think the captain has like 6 slots. I just think it gets kind of ridiculous. So I would probably request that we all, it wasn't like, you get a gun, you get a hand and weapon, you get your armor. And then like a thing, like a deck to down, whatever. But it gets out of control if everyone's loaded up with like grenades and 2 guns and all. I just think that there's a lot of that could happen that you might have to keep an eye on. Did you guys get that feeling at all or no?
Well, I mean, one of the things that struck me was like the rifles were 2 slots. So
They were?
yes, a rifle takes 2 slots. If you have heavier armor, it's 2 slots.
There is a table that says that. Heavy armor, I knew. I must have missed rifle.
Yeah.
Now, if you're buying crew members and they all come with it, then you're fine anyway.
Yeah, but they only have 1 extra slot. Anyone that's a crew member can only have 1 extra slot, and it can only be from gear that you find later on. You can't take it from the general pool.
Oh, you can't buy it then right off.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so you get, so I do like this. Before I get in, because it sounded kind of negative, the building of the crew is actually, it's good, it's done well. Because you pick a stat line, recruits, soldier, sniper, commando, medic, whatever. They come with their stats, their modifiers, and then a certain amount of weapons and armor and items. So the armored trooper, some people are using like a space marine. I don't really like that in there. I think they're kind of out of place. What I thought was cool, going with my Necromunda theme, that's a perfect spot for like the guy you showed me earlier today, Mike, the Enforcer. To me, that guy is the perfect armored trooper in Frostgrave because he represents 14 armor, I think, whatever it is, something really high, whereas most have 10 or 11. But you got your basic equipment. Some have a knife, some have a sword, or like a hand-to-hand weapon, a better hand-to-hand weapon than a knife. The one thing that got me in the game that I didn't realize, and I'm pretty sure I fucked this up in Frostgrave too, which is always great to have the same fuck up in a completely different game. Well, somewhat different game. I didn't realize that knife is bad. Like I was like, oh, I'm like, it's a -1. They're like, no, -1 on you. I'm like, no, it's a -1. I got you. I stabbed you. Like, no. The knife isn't good. Like a sword or something would be good. And then I looked it up like, oh, and then I'm like, my first thought was, is a knife worse than 2 tickets to the gun show? Then I looked at, oh, no. Unarmed is the worst. Yeah. It took me, and I fucked up that in Frostgrave too, where I was like, wait, -1 armor on you. No, -1 damage from you or whatever. You know what I mean? That's in the game.
That's also a holdover from Frostgrave, where all the like cover and everything, it seems like it goes like +2, +4. That's pluses to the opponent's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of little counterintuitive that
a little bit.
Negatives give bonuses and positives give negatives.
Once I realized what my mistake was, I was good. Yeah, you're right. But I don't mind modifiers in games. I know a lot of people don't like a lot of pluses and minuses. I don't mind that at all, honestly. It just doesn't, you just do the math and then you roll, whatever. But I get why some people don't like that. The one thing, this might have been on my short list of things to look at, and of course, it wouldn't be a sci-fi miniatures game if there wasn't a discussion about how cover works and why it's not good, because no game handles it right. Because what is right? Everyone, what we did in this game was we said, well, let's just do if your base is touching it. That way, like the Legion rule. They do it in Legion, right? On those barricades. That way you got that. But intervening terrain was -1 for every piece. Oh, what the fuck's a piece? So we had the game we played, it's hard to tell you, but it was like a couple small things on the outside and a big room building on the inside, like big, like almost like 12, even 15 by 15 building on the inside room. It's like corners, there's rubble, there's all kind of stuff. He's in one corner, I'm another corner. We're like, all right, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's like, whoa, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm counting up all the pieces.
That's one piece.
Right?
It's one piece.
He's like, 1 piece, motherfucker. I'm like, 1 piece? Get down right now.
Rules is written, bro.
Yeah, get down to 1 knee, take a knee, look behind that fucker's shoulder, and you tell me you don't see 5 pieces. And it was like all these things. So we eventually came to some kind of agreement, but that was like raw rules as written. It did say if you have, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. I played the game. I didn't think we were gonna do an episode about it right away. So I hardcover, and we said we were touching it was a -2. So there would be oftentimes, wait a minute, hardcover is not as good as intervening terrain, because once you hit 3 pieces, now the intervening terrain is better cover than being behind like a fortified wall. Does that ring any bells to you, Mike, as far as something that should be the old pre-game talk, if you will?
Yeah, it was that way in Frostgrave too. So
Not as bad though, because no shooting. And less shooting.
There's less shooting.
Not as bad. You're right. Fantasy games do have the same issues, but it's never to the extent as guns, because the whole everyone's warband is guns. We're shooting the whole time. We did one hand-to-hand. It was at the end of the game when we finally got close. It was all shooting all the time, which is why cover and the discussion that goes with it is even more important.
Yeah.
So that was something I realized, and that was like, we got to come to an agreement. That's something that happens in a lot of, I don't know who does it the best, but there's always a discussion that has to be had with cover. So that would be something to look at as well. Has anyone else played it here or no?
No.
What anything stopping anyone here from getting into it besides just too many games?
I had a couple questions. Is it like with the way the rolls go, where it's like you win, and then we do the calculation? Is it as swingy as Frostgrave could be?
You mean in the combat?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% the same.
It's like, I beat you just by 1, but you take 80,000 damage.
Yep. That literally happened.
Where only your captain and his first mate get the increases, and the followers don't. At first, I was really against that in Frostgrave, and then I realized, who wants to level up all those minions?
I'm exactly the same as you, Baron. I was totally against it, and then I realized there was a lot of record keeping and more work for Mike. And I'm like, well, we should have just kept it with 1 and 2.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing when we tried to create that, and I was like, nope.
It was such a case of, with Frostgrave especially, and we probably talked about it now, but it's such a case of like with any game that you look at, this I'm talking to you, the viewer, as well. Any game you're looking at, and you start to overanalyze shit. Okay, Extreme is the master of overanalyzing games before he ever rolls his first set of dice. There has to be something said for shut up and play a game, and then continue on if you choose to keep overanalyzing. Because what happened with Frostgrave is exactly what, like, that's
play it as intended first to see before you start.
Right. Before saying everything's broken, wait and see, because maybe there's a reason for that. And so, that was something in the game. You're right, Bjorn. You have those swings, and I'm pretty sure they happened in my game against Dan. I believe you rolled like an 18 or 19 plus a modifier of 2 or 3, and I rolled a nat 20, and so it did an extra 5 damage. It was extra 5. And his guy was dead instantly. It was just like a, slice your throat.
That's kind of the game style of all of his games, I think. Which
I like that. I think it's cool. I just think it's fun to, people argue in all these groups on Facebook for every game we've ever talked about, looking for balance and parity and these things that are like, whoa, what about, it's not really fair. It's like, what are you doing? We're rolling dice. And we're playing with models that all have different stats and skills. There is no balance. Like, play chess. Like, that's not. So in a game like this, I love it because it throws all that shit out the window right off the bat. You're rolling a d20, and like you said, Biron, anything goes based on that roll.
Yeah.
You like that. A recruit in your crew is free, and he's got like garbage stats. I could have the armored trooper. And 14 and plus 4 shooting and plus 4 this, doesn't matter. If I roll a fucking 2, it's a 2, whatever. Like, so I'm okay with all that. Is that a turnoff for you, Bjorn?
A little bit. Maybe it's because in Frostgrave, I think my wizard died in 1 roll, my leader, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Did he die? Or just like,
yes. Oh yeah, I rolled on the injury and he was dead.
it wasn't like career-ending injury or something, like another table that maybe Mike could slide in front of you? Like, that's what I would do. Every time someone keeps rolling a 1, I'd be like, and then there's the magnificent recovery table. Yes.
Yes.
It's a 2+ on a D20. Go. 1. Oh shit. All right. There's one more table. There is the combat drugs just kicked in.
Yeah, I think I'm more likely to enjoy this than Frostgrave because I've never been a wizard guy.
Yeah. And that's common. I think that's a common I don't want to say complaint, but a common response.
And that was like with Frostgrave, when we first played, we did like your level up your minions. I'm like, okay, cool. So I can at least level up the guys I like barbarian and stuff like that. But then it's like, no, the game would be better if you didn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't like wizards. So.
Yeah. Plus, when we played that Frostgrave campaign, I had a knight and a barbarian that I cared about, and now I'm being careful with them.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been. I should have sent the knight out there to grab the treasure and walk off the table. And if he takes a few arrows on the way out, fine. But instead, I was like protecting him because the next game. And I think, I don't know, and Mike could probably answer this better, but I think a little too much tinkering will fuck with the overall mechanics of the game and mechanics of the upgrade system.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I bet you I'll like this better than Frostgrave. So
I bet you won't, because you won't play it.
I have the rule book.
That doesn't mean anything.
I know.
I've got every
I have the rule, but and also I'd be like, we were talking about what you would like to do. I would probably go the Necromunda route as far as models go, because I think those are a little more grounded than Space Marines and stuff.
Oh, yeah. When I said 40K, I didn't mean Space Marines.
Yes. And I play what are the Orlocks, and because they just look like space pirate mercenaries anyway. So
yeah, Orlocks are space bikers. They just have that feel, and they're super generic in a good way.
Yeah. And between like the two games we were discussing, this and Star Breach, I think I lean towards more curious about Star Breach because it's different. And
why do you guys keep comparing those? By the way, I'm just curious.
Because they're
Mike,
your own model type sci-fi skirmish.
But that's a battle game,
though.
No, it's a skirmish.
Star Breach is not. No.
It's a skirmish game.
Okay, I guess I didn't really fully read the rules. I saw the army lists, and I just went into like army building mode. That's not the intention.
And the way I think of Star Breach, I think of it as, so I'm reading this comic series I've kind of been called Crossover. Basically, it's world cataclysm event. Superheroes from a bunch of different properties emerge in the real world and start fighting. So I think of it like, you think about Star Breach, it's like, all right, I got Space Marines and I got Jedi and I got Mars Attacks guys, and they're all fighting. And I think that kind of mishmash.
I think it reminds me of like being a kid and having all your guys on your shelf fight, no matter what they're with.
Or like what was the Hanna-Barbera where they'd had the Olympics. It was all their Hanna-Barbera properties.
Oh yeah. It was was it the Wacky Races?
Yeah.
Wacky Races.
Wacky Races and Laugh Olympics.
Yeah.
Laugh Olympics. That was it. Yeah.
How did I know Extreme knew the full fucking title, like with subtitle? Who's the Extreme? Let me quiz you real quick. Who's the guy that's laughing all the time? He's like snickering.
That one?
Who's that guy? Who's that guy?
Forget it.
I
don't like being put on the spot.
I thought you were a Hanna-Barbera mark. You're not.
No.
I thought you were smart.
Watch The Baron Goes West to learn how Hanna-Barbera sued Yellowstone.
Yeah. Or Jellystone, if you will.
Yeah.
So, Biron, what were you saying when you said about you brought up Star Breach in this one, if you want to continue that thought?
Yeah, I think like this, the way I read it, I just skipped Stargrave was you're making a band of pirates or whatever, whereas in Star Breach, you still have an army per se, like you have, I'm playing Jedi and I'm playing Space Marines and I'm playing Star Pharaohs or whatever. So you'd still got a theme amongst it.
Yeah. I mean, so when I built mine, I could have had a mishmash, but I decided to go with, I had 8 Chaos Cult, like, they weren't actually GW models, they were the same aesthetic, some resin company, but 8 of those, or maybe 7. We had 7 of those, and then one of them was the first mate, and then my robot my navigator, and I had a Necromunda squat as like my hacker. Because he looked like
Oh, is it the one they released somewhat recently?
Yeah, he's a newer guy. He's got like, it's kind of fucked up. And of course, classic Forge World. I get the model, I buy it pro painted from England. It makes it across the pond, perfect condition. And the moment I put it on a table, because the model has a shotgun like ready to be loaded. I don't know why. That just snapped right off. Like I fucking looked at it wrong, and it snapped off. And I looked at the piece of resin, how tiny. Like, how the fuck did this get from wherever, Leeds, we'll say, to me in one piece? So I trimmed it, and it was more like a stub gun of sorts.
Thought of shotgun now, yeah.
Totally, yeah. And that guy was like my hacker. And I used a medic. I used Fabius Biles' sidekick as my medic.
Okay, yeah.
This guy, I love that guy.
Well, I remember I did some modification because I didn't want to buy multiple boxes of the Orlocks. So I gave 2 cyber arms out. So I had to do some hacking and slashing to get it. Yeah. It was fun.
But so I had a theme with mine. I mean, they had an overall look, this red and black Chaos Cult guys. But I mean, you can do whatever you want. I generally stick to uniforms so I don't get confused when I'm watching them on the table. That's usually most games, because if we were playing a 4-model skirmish game, fine, whatever. But when you play, like, I played a few kill team games where there's 15 models on the board on your side. You can have up to 20, I think, in that game. This one's 10, so a little more manageable. But when it gets to a certain point, I kind of like to see at a glance. There's a guy hiding. I see a fucking red shirt. And yes, the red shirt will die first, but my whole warband will be red shirts. Just somewhat of a theme.
Yeah, if you use like the Stargrave miniatures, I think it's a nice kit, but they all kind of look the same, guy with gun, and like this is my scrub guy, whereas this other one here is the Pathfinder, whatever. Yeah. They kind of, it's harder to tell.
Do you think that kit is intended to be combined with like bits from other stuff though, but that the kit gives you the core?
Yeah, because I've seen people do really, like they take the cultists from Frostgrave,
right. Those models
bodies, and
those are Biron's favorite because he cosplayed, I think the white one time. I mean, it's kind of like when people are talking about sludge and looking at bits. I want helmets that look different because that will dramatically change the look of this, historical model. Same kind of thing, in my opinion, with those 2 models you showed me that you built earlier. They look cool. They would fit into like a Star Wars Rebel army. But when you get 10 of them, they all kind of have the same kind of look. Yeah. But if you were to say, wow, my guys are a little mutated, start hacking off a couple arms, putting a few tentacles there, putting a fucking, dickhead head up here, and then you give them a little bit of personality. Or maybe you start to have, I'm going to build them all, and I'm going to grab these orc shoulder pads, these spikes, and they're all going to have 1 spike on every side, and that's going to show what this gang is. I think it's almost intended to say that's your core, but you should really raid your bits box or go and seek out these resin stores and kind of fill in the blanks.
Spend $600 on shoulder pads on Forge World, then you've done it right.
That's how
exactly.
Or get the didn't you get Biron the ones from Thinkways or whatever?
Yeah, Shapeways. I got Shapeways. The World Eaters things logo.
How were they? Because I remember when I was doing Raven Guard, I bought.
No, I didn't. No, it was Salamanders. I did the Salamanders.
I bought some, and I went to put it on. It snapped. It like I went to put the shoulder pad on, and it snapped between my 2 fingers. Like, listen, I'm as swole as the next guy, but I'm not that strong to fucking be snapping shoulder pads without even trying.
Well, I got they were just the logos, and they were curved properly to just glue right onto the shoulder pad.
Oh.
And any that I snapped, I didn't care because they print out like 1 billion of them.
Yeah. I think that would have been better, although I probably would have lost them in the carpet anyway.
Yeah. There are some in the carpet stuff.
Anytime I see like a bit where it's like the icon of something instead of the something it's on, I'm always like, oh, fuck. This is going to end up in my toenail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? So Mike, have you started building an actual warband now or a crew?
Well, yes, because I
Okay.
finally found my kits. I put those two together, and I was actually working. Before I got this, was building stuff for Starbreach, and I got a bunch of the Necromunda kits, like the later ones, and those were really nice, and they were much easier to put together than
what?
Than the box set kits.
Oh, yeah. So unfortunately, the Goliath and Escher were the better build them stock, whereas the other ones you can do. I think we talked about it on either our last episode, but like what I like to do with Necromunda models is take the arms and the gun and just build those as like a 3-piece thing.
Yeah.
So then I can slide them on things later on.
Yeah.
Little more. It's not like what people always ask for. Everybody always asks for the old shit.
Yeah.
What happened to the posable arms? I don't know. Nobody wants guys that look like this.
Oh
anymore.
my God. Like the old Space Marine kid's like, well, you could whip them however you want. I go, yeah, but they look like shit.
Because you know what happened, especially the old. So like I remember when I was first getting into 40K, if you did modular Space Marines, you're cool because they're holding bolters like this. If you did modular Chaos Marines, because you want to put a hand-to-hand weapon in there, they all look stupid. They're all like they just all looked fucked up because the way, and I was always cutting, I think I was cutting wrists a lot. So that way they at least, if you're going to hold a sword sideways, hold it like this, I was doing a lot of that work. But that's the shit people always ask for. They keep asking for those modular kits now.
Well, like when we were doing 30K and I'm like, and you said we were doing hardcore rules, like if you guys got to have chain axes, they each got to have a chain axe on them. So I bought the resin printed ones.
Hey, I give you credit. You went balls out on them.
And they were full-size axes and they kept breaking. So I just started gluing them to their ass. Like
that's what I did with orcs way back when I was putting choppas and there were axes. And they had like big chop, longer ones. At a certain point, it broke. Like, well, if I glue it to their back, doesn't matter how many times it broke, because I'm going to glue the pieces of the staff connected on their back anyway. That it doesn't have to be stable anymore. It's all just going to be one plastic cement and like smush it in there.
And it's those stupid rules we concocted for ourselves that made that part of the game fun for me.
Yeah, but you wanted the full 30K experience.
Yep. And whoa, it wasn't great.
You wanted it.
I know.
You wanted someone to walk by, and I don't want to say they're going to say guard nice, but I wanted to say maybe like heresy accurate, and like walk away.
Or worse, like because I had the white world eaters.
Yeah.
Nice white scars. I go,
You know what?
Cool.
That guy wouldn't even get an answer, because if he said that at a real 30K table, he doesn't even get acknowledged. Like someone's going to walk into him because like that's how you're not even there. I'm going to bump into you because you're not even fucking there. Because at a 30K table, you don't say those words.
Right.
You got to know your lore before watching at a 30K table. I learned that one. You can't even watch without prerequisite classes.
That guy's the same guy that walked up to the techno game and said Blood Bowl nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I love about that.
Well,
like,
and Guard Nice was wrong too, because I was playing Gene Stealer Call.
Blood Bowl, nice. I used to play that when I was an idiot. It's like, which burn do I go after? I don't even know which hill to die on in this case.
See, for me, that guy doing that, the meme of like kind of the medieval guy with the Dutch boy hair that just goes, that's me, because I agree with him.
What's the Dutch boy? What is he saying?
It's just some like lumberjack Dutch boy haircut guy, and it's just him just slowly smiling and nodding.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I've seen it. Maybe you're just describing it wrong.
Yeah, I've seen that. He's like out in the wood.
Yeah. So anyway, way off topic, but you could. I'm going to tie this together. Biron, you could technically play a 30K Horus Heresy skirmish game with these rules, right?
Sure.
Good.
And the older Marines aren't super swole and big, so it would fit.
Yeah.
No, but also, I mean, I look at this game just like I did with Frostgrave and Rangers of Shadow Deep, where you should probably have a games master, and like a DM would, he can get you in the mode of doing that. You could, again, I don't know if this would break it, but if we played a fucking Space Marine, even Primaris Space Marine, Stargrave, the armor would be probably jacked up. We'd have, but as long as everybody gets lifted, it'd be fine. I mean, I just think that's such an open, not open world, but I don't know what you want to call it, a shell to do whatever you want within your group in this game.
I think what's going to hold this game back, honestly, for our group is Kill Team coming out.
Oh yeah, definitely, because we're not going to start this until we get through Kill Team and decide if we like it or not. And if we like it, we'll keep playing it. If we don't, then we may. Yeah.
I don't want what I say next to have any impact. It's like the butterfly effect of sorts. I don't want to affect the outcome. But I mean, unless I write it down or send it to Extreme only, but that's not good show content, guys. So I think Kill Team will not stick in the group. I think it will go the way that Warcry went. You'll try it, you'll give it the college try, but something will irritate somebody about the way Games Workshop rules are written, and it will be what's next. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen.
That's most cases. We give it a college try, and then but it's usually ADD that makes us go, ooh, something else.
It could be, but I actually think knowing Stargrave is kind of, in the back pocket, I think that there might be a catalyst, if you will, of something in Kill Team that will make you want to try Stargrave.
Oh, I agree, because we're gonna invest some money into Kill Team, but we're gonna try it. But I have high hopes, but I don't expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing with the Kill. I mean, I don't want to get too much into a Kill Team, but I haven't even really done any research on the new one because I'm already sold. Like I don't need, because I like the old one, and I'm gonna like whatever new rules. So like I just and I like Games Workshop stuff, as indicated on our tracking spreadsheet, which will one day when we're all dead will be made public.
Mm-hmm.
One day. But I just have a feeling that because your group played Frostgrave and enjoyed it, and Mike did a good job of championing it, I just have a feeling something's going to make somebody go. Now, with that said, any investment in Kill Team, I also see somebody going, guess what? My new Death Core of Craig are going to be my Kill Team or my Stargrave mod.
The Death Core of Krieg will become the Death Core of Craig, and Craig will be our captain.
Krieg, right? Well, Krieg will be the captain of the Craig list.
Yeah,
obviously. Craig's list.
Yeah,
Krieg's list.
This is my Craig's list.
Krieg's list.
Death
You don't want to be on You don't want to be on that list. That's not.
Can you equip a shovel in the game? Is the question.
Rob Graves can, of course. So yeah, I think you might see those models from Kill Team make their way in.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I don't want it to impact it. But Biron, you said, do you have other questions? Did you have some questions about Stargrave?
No, but it sounds like it's very much a reskinned Frostgrave.
Yeah.
Oh,
no doubt.
100%.
No doubt.
Unabashedly.
Yeah.
Reskinned. I mean, he makes no.
I love it. Yeah. Why lie or why change stuff just to change it, to say it's not Frostgrave? It's ballsy and genius at the same time to say, we're doing it again. This time with guns, motherfucker. Shit. All right. Extreme. What are your thoughts? Something you'd ever get into, or not in the pay no mind pile for you?
I mean, probably not going to get into it. Like if I had if someone said, "Hey, we're going to play Stargrave," I think my first response would be, "You mean Frostgrave?" Because I would be much more interested in playing Frostgrave. But that's not a judgment on the game. It's just I tend to lean more towards fantasy games and stuff like this.
Do you like the wizard aspect, or would you? Because when I bought that Rangers of Shadow Deep, I was like, "Oh, this is the Frostgrave game for all the people who don't like wizards."
Exactly.
I do like the wizard aspect.
Okay. All right. I like it too. I like the schools of magic and all that. This one has a similar vibe to your captain. Like we could all build war bands in Stargrave and have all completely different captains. but 2 of us could have heavy psychic captains that aren't really made to be fighters. Like the one I was, because I'm, as a navigator, he's not there to fight. So he was all, what did I give him? Like, well, one of them was cancel your power, because why the fuck would I not pick that?
Yeah.
Come on. I think one was like open lock or something, because I'm like, well, if they could save me buying a slicer guy just with a roll, like a willpower roll to open up something. But I gave him all those kind of mind control, all those kind of things. So you can actually, it's kind of cool, like in that it's a sci-fi game, but if you like the wizard style Frostgrave, make your guy a wizard. If you don't like that, then don't. Make him a hardened veteran and beef him up with guns and shit. So. Anything else you want to cover on Stargrave? Mechanics wise, it's your typical, game with, back and forth activations. You could do group activations. One of the things, there's a little weird wording about the group activations I found. It was what was it? There's Mike, you might remember this from Frostgrave, where it was like, well, you can do them all together if you do all your move first, and then you do your second actions. You make your first action and move, you can do them all together. So it was like leader, henchman, we all move, and then we do our second ones. And then I quickly realized, or I could just move a guy, shoot, move the next guy, shoot, move my leader and shoot, or whatever. And I still get to do all mine in a row before you. And I quickly didn't realize the benefit, except for weird, like very specific circumstances where I'd want to move them all together at the same time before doing action number 2. Reason being is, all right, Extreme, you got one guy hiding behind a rock. He's staying on top of an objective. If I did what I first read was how to do group activation, move everybody. What if the first guy kills you? Now I've already moved everybody into near that guy. Whereas if I did it one at a time, which I later read, I could also do that instead. Move my first guy up, shoot you, kill you. Cool. I'm going to move the rest of mine over here because it's still part of my leader's group activation.
Yeah.
If you want to reread that, Mike, one day and tell me where I'm wrong, but I didn't get the reason why I'd want to choose the first method of group activation over.
Yeah, I never got that in Frostgrave either. It always seemed like it was just to speed things up, just
maybe. Well, so in that game,
but it wasn't as tactical, like you said.
No. Well, in that game with Dan, it wasn't until the third turn that we looked at it again. We're like, wait, why did I just move all 4 guys in one spot when I didn't need to? Well, you were doing group activation. And we were like, wait, do you? Can't I just say group activation? And just, I'm doing it, but I'm doing it one model at a time to fulfill all 2 actions one at a time. I just thought that was weird, but tell me in the comments. I could have completely missed the rationale for it, or maybe it is only for saving time, like you said, like beginning of the game, you don't really do a lot anyway. You're just getting in position. All the guns are pretty short range too. So you want to, well, relatively. If you're playing a small table, you'll get it. Turn 2 will probably be your turn. You start to shoot stuff. Probably not 1. Anyway, really fun game, made for a campaign. I will say, if you are the type that is looking for a sci-fi skirmish game, but you have a feeling you're going to be into one-off games, I probably would look into the new Kill Team first, because that's going to be more of a one-off games and also a campaign, as opposed to this is a campaign and also maybe a one-off game. Just my thoughts. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, it seems to be more campaign driven than, because that's another difference between this and Star Breach. Star Breach has a campaign system, but this one seems like it's designed more for multiple games, and
it really is. It's just, it's like, like I said in the Frostgrave one, it's because of the D20 and the modifiers, it's like a role-playing game on the table. So it's not intended to have the story end, after 2 hours. It's intended to go on and on. So
yeah.
All right. Anything else before we give our Zlurp keys?
I think we're good.
Okay. I shall begin. I played a game. 1 is more than 0. I will give it an even 4. Why not 4.5, you're asking? I know, you're asking that. They say, JP, I'm looking at the stats. Frostgrave got it for me. This is like Biron always says, this is how I feel at this moment in time. Drop a pin in, it's a 4 right now. You didn't catch me at a 4.5 pin. That's it. Great game. Would like to play it one day. I'm probably going to play at least 5 to 7 other games anytime before this, though. But I could be swayed. Really good games master putting together a great campaign. I'm in immediately. Let's go to Mike, number 2.
Yeah, I'll also give it a 4. I like, it's got all the good stuff about Frostgrave. They've, as the second edition came out as Archipelago and Rangers, they made little tweaks, and this has some of those tweaks in there as well. So again, it's light. It's not meant to be super dense, because your guys are going to die. Your henchmen are basically equipment, so yeah. And there's even, even if your captain dies, there's rules about, so
would you say, if I can just pop this in real quick, is this a game where you think, depending on who you're playing with, how you get recruits for free?
Yeah.
Would you have to limit that with some people? Be like, no, you get a max of 3 of those. Like, let's not do 8 recruits and 2 fucking crazy guys.
Well, the crazy guys.
Captain, first mate, 2 fully kitted out armored warriors, and then 6 free recruits.
But when the warriors, I think the most expensive one's only like 150.
Well, the specialists are around 100 usually.
Yeah, we get 400 and medics.
But that armored trooper, I think, is 150.
Yeah, 150.
And if you give him more weapons, gets up to 200, you only get 400 to spend.
Yeah, but you can't give him more. You get what he comes with.
Okay, so 150, 300. Medic, 400. Guess I got recruits.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, there's always going to be that guy. We talked about that guy. Ironically, that guy
is not that guy.
Is not that
actually
guy.
Not that guy, which is
because
really
that guy would blow. I want my dog and my
that guy with the tail is not that guy. That's actually
can I recruit Pikachu?
That's right. That's that guy. That guy, lowercase t and g, is actually a neckbeard probably. Most likely.
Garden Ice is that guy.
Yeah.
I want to make a meme of Garden Ice.
We should have a shirt. You could like the stance of the Mantic station.
I was just thinking the aberration.
Yeah,
the aberration.
Garden Ice down the middle.
I don't want Ronnie to sue me though over a shirt. What am I more likely to get sued from? A T-shirt design with the aberration says Garden Ice, or Mike on a shirt with 2 Hulk fists doing that? Technically, one is it's a toy. It's a toy. But it is a Marvel property,
right?
That I'm making money from. I'm just saying, the mouse has to get paid. Never forget. Okay, so we got a 4 from Mike and me. Biron played Frostgrave, right?
I did play.
Right, so you're next. Extremes the caboose.
I am going to go with a 3. Middle of the road. I'm not completely disinterested, but I'm not jazzed.
Okay. What if we didn't call it Stargrave, we called it Tagra?
Tagra? We'd probably go to a 3.25, but we can't do course points.
That's true. Tagra sounds like a European progressive metal band.
Yeah, or Tav McGraw,
That's a Israeli special forces combat, isn't it?
No, Tav McGraw is the version that I do instead of Krav Maga.
It's the Force Stripe Adidas version.
It's just flailing about. And then I thought then there's also a version with Todd in there. Like
Todd McGraw.
Todd McGraw is when you need to kick somebody out of your store for sleeping or eating, and you just fucking wail on them. That's Todd McGraw.
Or you just say, you wait till Howie gets here.
And Howie's like, I'm too sore to kick anyone's ass today. I just welded something. All right, 3 from Baron. Extreme.
I'm going to give it a 3.5. Just a little bit lower than Frostgrave, but still a good game. I would play.
Okay. You're not going to actively seek out games though.
No.
Like, what's your local game store? Game Preserve?
Yeah.
Would you ever put up like a little note card that
With
says,
a tear of your phone number with a little tear on?
yeah, or looking for Stargrave players, call me Extreme at.
Nope, I would not.
Or would you put, just side note, if you were to hypothetically do one of those little cards for any game, would you put Brian or Extreme at the bottom?
Brian.
Okay.
But with mine, with my phone number.
You want to start off on the right. You don't want to start off on like characters right off the bat.
Because then you have to explain why you're called Extreme.
Right. And it's like, not that anybody would call anybody, but it's just like, hi, is Extreme there? Like,
I already have that.
Hey, Extreme, can you get a message to Polo?
Yeah. Is your son Chicken? I would like to speak with him at once. No, you don't get to talk to my son. I'm sorry. So, all right.
I already have the awkward moment every time I buy something from a new employee at the store because we have our store credit system and they use your address as the secondary if you have a common name like that. But I don't have my address in there. Instead, several managers ago thought it would be cute to put Mr. Zlurpy himself in there. So
and you have to say the whole thing, right?
Well, there's always the pause as they read it on the thing. I'm like, yep, that's the one.
Extreme, do you regret being Mr. Zlurpy himself at all?
It's no, not really.
It's brought you fame and fortune, we know that. But like I was guest judging on that Super Show thing, and everyone had a hard time saying Zlurpcast. And even like Scott Primal like flub, like a lot of people flub that word. Like they're trying to give me a plug. Johnny P from and it's like, oh man.
The Canadians are like, trying to call it Zlurpcast.
Right. Zlurpcast.
Zlurpcast.
Then I'm like, fucking Extreme created a hard to pronounce thing a billion years ago, and now we're stuck with it.
Did I create a hard to pronounce thing or did 7-Eleven? Because it's the same damn thing. They could say Slurpee. Why can't they say Slurpee?
Well, you know what? Do you want to dissect it? I'm no literature scholar by any means.
Okay, just so I don't forget, the final score is 3.625. It's right.
3.625. Very nice. 3 3/8, I believe, or 3 5/8.
Yeah. I'm like the stock exchange. I don't use fractions anymore.
Yeah, I like them because I can show off. SL and letters spells a lot of words, like slush and
sloppy, slut,
and slither and slut and sleuth.
Slacker.
What does slacker? What does ZL spell?
Nothing.
Eastern European stuff.
Yes.
Eastern European Zluff.
Yeah.
You will. Extreme. You could pass the buck all day long on 7-Eleven. You went with Z because you thought it'd be cool. Should I just say I'm thankful you didn't go with X and call it I can't even do it because there's an L afterwards, which makes the X fucking unpronounceable. Because usually it's like C, right? Yeah, I can't even pronounce it. So I should be thanking you for going with Z instead of X in the traditional cool letters.
Yeah, it could have been an X and it could have been like some chaos language that unpronounceable names.
That's true. That was Bobby Cranston in the Blood Bowl League. His chaos team, it was a blank roster because he couldn't pronounce any of the names. Like, got me good. You said I got to name everybody, right? The human tongue cannot pronounce these. Oh, fuck. I made him spell it out anyway, though. Just list a bunch of fucking consonants and apostrophes in weird spots. Cool. Well, good score for Stargrave. It is a fun game. If you like Frostgrave, you will like this because it's that with guns. If you're looking for a sci-fi skirmish game, look into it because all you got to do is buy a book. You buy a book for $30 and you go through your box and you see in your shelf and you see what you got and you can build some stuff out of it and give it a try. It's one of the easiest games, provided you have an opponent, to get into to try it out. It's a book. You already have a tape measure, probably already have terrain, or your game store does. Probably already have models. Easy as pie. Cool. Well, make sure to sign up to the Zlurp Nation. There's a link below. Bonus videos, like we talk about, dorky shows that are on cable channels that don't even exist anymore, and code browns, if you will. Both those and more. Follow Zlurpcast on social media at Zlurpcast. Buy some stuff. Mike, would you mind doing a quick model of the shirt? Just a quick. So you got Agent J, Brickschell. You got Nacho Bandit, who has what we like to call a jerk off heavy forearm. And then we've got Mutant Kind, like with a bunch of little, like, are those like giant nipples?
Those are salami nipples, yeah.
They are pepperoni nipples for sure.
Yes.
Well, give the guy some credit. There's a few salamis.
Yeah.
They're not all pepperonis. Not a fucking novice. Some slums in there. Anyway, get that shirt at zlurpcast.net. It's like $20 or so. We get a couple bucks, goes towards the show, but more importantly, you get to look like the shit when you wear that in a public setting. Someone's like, what is that? What is that, like the 4-stripe Adidas Avengers? And you say, yeah, that's all they had at the store. They didn't have the one with the other guys on it. We got this one. You just go about your day. I like it. All right. Next episode, not a game. I don't know.
Bullshit episode.
It'll be a bullshit episode. Maybe a game show, possibly. I don't know. Stream saw the last one. He was a little jealous. All right. Say bye.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by Nuffles. Bet you can't just roll a one.